Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Arianne and I love all things DIY and craft. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you stay updated every time I post a new video. So today's video, I'm going to share my July bullet journal spread. I really love the way that it turned out. I'm one of these people that likes to have a theme and I stick to the theme all month long. Some people don't do this, they just have, they change up every now and then to their whims, but I just like to restrict myself a bit and just be a bit more creative because it forces you to think outside the box. And if you've watched my previous plan with me for June, you know that I like to use Dutch door style. So I thought I'd change it up and use the Dutch door style for the month spread and not the weekly spread because I think it limits it too much, and I wanted to try something different for the weekly spread, and I will be sharing that with you in the next couple of days or later on this week, so make sure you come back and check that out. But for this, I've got July written in the middle of the page, and then I've just cut it a Dutch door style and around the word July so it kind of pops out. And then on the other side I've got a quote and it says, "Fall in love with the process of becoming the very best version of yourself." And for this I used a new pen. I got this pen the other day. It is the, oh god, I can't even remember how to say it now. It's a Tombro Fedenuski pen. I don't know how you say it, but I love this pen. I honestly, I don't know how I survived without it before. So I got this from Amanda Rachel's Essential Bullet Journal recommendations, and I love it. It is so easy to work with. I got the hard tip, but again, everything I used in this video will be linked down below in the description. So if you did want to get the pens that I used, just check them out there and you can just order them straight from there. But anyway, so on the page after the July, I've got my goals and to-dos for the month, and this is on a swan. I've done the same thing. I've kind of made it pop out and Dutch door style with a swan. So the theme, if you haven't realized yet, is origami, and I wanted it to look like, you know, when you fold origami and it like pops out and it gives like that dimension. I kind of wanted that idea for the whole month, and I didn't just draw them on and go, oh, that'll fit. I actually prepped this on Photoshop first to make sure that everything would fit, because I know what I'm like, and bullet journals, I always make a mistake, so I wanted it to be perfect and just right. So I did mock this up on Photoshop before I drew anything on, just to make sure I had everything organized and where I wanted each animal so that you could see it once it was cut out. But the next page, so this is the one straight after the goals and to-dos for the month, I've got my monthly log, and I like to have two logs. One is personal, one professional. I don't refer back to it too much, but I do like to have it just to look back on sometimes, or if I've got something planned far in the future, I like to use this page. But I kept it quite simple. I don't have a lot of color for this month because I like black and white, because I feel like if I have too many colors it becomes just too much and too busy, so I prefer it to be a bit more simple. So at this point I just start cutting out all of my Dutch doors or my origami shapes, and I love this elephant. Elephants are my favorite animals, just FYI. But yeah, so I'm just cutting everything out so that I can decide what I want each page to be. And as I'm going, I'm just checking that everything is sticking out properly, and I wanted to work out where I could cut the page so that it was more than half, because at the moment everything was half a page, but because the animals started to poke out a bit more, I just wanted to see how much further I could push the I suppose the cut, so where the Dutch door goes. So I just measured that out on the previous pages, so I closed it all and then I just marked it, and I got a bit more than half a page, which is really useful and gave me a bit more space to work with. But I'm just going through and cutting them all, because even though I had already pre-planned what I wanted on each page, until it's all cut out, you kind of don't really know spatially how much space you have. So I just wanted to get them all cut out and work out what each page would be used for depending on how much space I needed for the task. And actually this worked out really well, because later on, when I get to my mood tracker, the highlighters bled through, which really annoyed me, because I got a new bullet journal because I was getting really annoyed that all my colors bled on my Lexstrom bullet journal, which is the cult favorite for bullet journaling. So I tried to use a different brand, and if you want me to do a review of this notebook, it's the Lemony notebook, which apparently has thicker pages, but I still have bleed through, and in some cases it is more difficult to use than the Lexstrom one, but I will do a full review. I think I'm going to order a couple more and then just review them and do ink tests so that you can see. But as I was saying, so it's a good job that I didn't have everything too firmly set in place with what I was going to put where, because it bled through and I ended up having to change what the page was, and it worked out quite nicely in the end. But yeah, that's the beauty of not having a set design and being able to create whatever you want, opposed to a regular notebook or planner. So this page is my habit tracker. I don't normally include a habit tracker, but I want to be more productive, so I thought I'd give it a go, because I'm notoriously bad for filling in my trackers, so that's why I don't include them. But I think I'm going to try for July to be more conscious of tracking myself and being accountable. So I've got this idea, I found this on Pinterest. I don't know who did this initially. I will try and find it and link them below, but it's this paper crane design and they're hanging, and then I've just got all the days of the month, the dates of the month, sorry, and I'm just filling it in, and I've got 5 habits to track. So I'm just doing a simple box. I did initially put the numbers for every day, but I didn't like it. I just felt it looked quite messy. So I just did this box design with 31 spaces and then just hand drew it, because I didn't want it to look too polished and perfect. And then I just colored in the whole background black. So I used a mixture of the bold, I think it's bold, it's B, so I assume it means bold, Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen, and then once I outlined all the shapes, I then moved on to the SC or SB, I can't remember, which is a bigger brush, but you don't have as much control. So I like to outline them first with a pen that you have more control over, and then color in the bulk of the background with a bigger pen. And you do see a bit of the strokes from different pens, and like you can see here, it doesn't look great, but in person you can't really see it, and once you've put all the designs in, you kind of don't notice it as much. So I think it turned out great. It doesn't look great right now, but yeah, so I'm coloring all the background and then even the tab at the top of the habit trackers, and I'm going to write this in my silver gel pen. And I'm just adding the strings on to the cranes so that they look like they're suspended from, I don't know, I suppose a ceiling. And then this is something that I did in my previous month, so check that out if you want to see my June plan with me spread and my weekly spreads. I used this method of using the silver gel pen just to do little dots and slightly bigger dots. The only problem with this pen is that it is quite a juicy pen. I'll call it juicy. It just gives out a lot of liquid, so I did smudge it slightly. So try and work from the top down, and I really want to get a white gel pen so that I can do white instead of silver, but that is on my stationery wish list. But on here I'm just writing down all my habits that I want to track. So I've got gym, wash my hair, because I need to track when I'm washing my hair because I've got really thick hair. And you guys don't need to know that. I don't know. Oversharing. Anyway, So the next page, or a few pages later, I did do a how to draw origami shapes. And I thought I'd include this because last month I wanted to, but I never got around to doing it. So I thought if I do it straight away, I can share them with you and you can see how I kind of draw shapes. So the first one is this little boat, which is super easy. You just do a straight line and at the bottom and then slightly diagonal lines, and then you do a crisscross with a little triangle on top, and then you just fill out the sides and do some shading. Then the elephant is a bit more difficult. I probably should have slowed this down, to be honest, but you can pause it and watch how I do it. So you just start with this end shape and then you add a triangle for the bum and a triangle for the tail, and then you just do this weird parallelogram, I think, for the ear, and then this weird shape for the head and the nose. And the aeroplane is so easy. It starts with a little V and then you just make another V going off it. And I did add shading later on just to add the dimensions, and then you just add some more shapes. So it's easier just to see how I do it than explain how you draw. But this fish is the simplest of them all. It's just a diamond or a square on its side, and I did it 6 by 6, and then the middle you have another square, and then the fins are just triangles, and then I don't know what you call the back fin, the tail, god, derp moment. The tail is just another weird shape. Basically, just look at the pictures and it does a step by step from there. I will post this on my Instagram, so check it out. It is happyasme bojo, and you can see how to draw the origami shapes in better detail. So the next page, or I suppose this is pages before because the draw with me is on the fish. So this is on the boat. I did a swan for my mood tracker. Again, I don't normally track my mood, but I had a very down period and mentally I just wasn't great. So I wanted something just so I can track when my mood starts to dip. So hopefully I can work on things that can lift it a bit more so I don't go through this really dark stage. So I thought I'd do a mood tracker, and this little origami style swan was so cute and I thought it fitted perfectly with my theme. So I've just split it off into 31 sections inside the swan and then numbered them all so that I can obviously know what day it is and fill it in. And for the colors, I chose the Stabilo Boss Pastel highlighters to use to track it, and I've got purple, which is my sadder or more negative moodlet, and then it goes to warmer colors as I suppose I get more cheery. So it's purple, then pink, orange, and then yellow is my fantastic great day. So yeah, that is the kind of the model. So this was meant to be my how to draw page, but you can see that the color bled straight through, which really annoyed me. So I thought I'd just turn this into something else, and I turned this into my YouTube tracker, and I used the colors that bled through to be the date indicators. So I just wrote the dates in there, and then I've got my subscribers gain or change, I suppose. Hopefully it's a gain, but you never know. So I've got my subscriber tracker and my watch time tracker for every week of the month. I mean, I should really have a final month a week, but because I only had 4 colors, I did that. And this is a new font that I'm trying to use because I need to get better at doing fonts and handwriting because I'm not great at it, and I would love to be better and learn how to do it nicely. So I'm really pushing myself to try more fonts. So I really like how this turned out. It did take me a lot of practice on a scrap piece of paper, but again, I've got goals, to-dos, and my video ideas, and I'm just doing this border that I used on previous spreads just to keep it nice and in sync and simple. And then I've got this brain dump, which is very, very simple, and I really like how it turned out. Again, it's got this hand drawn border around it, and I didn't want to make it too over the top because I had done something a bit more intricate for my last month, and it just looked so messy towards the end of the month, and I didn't like the way it looked. But I thought that it was missing something on the side, so I added this little boat origami shape just to give it something extra. And then as I flipped through, I realized that my quote page was just too boring, and I wanted to add some color and a little bit of origami style to it because I felt that it was just a bit plain. So I added these paper planes and then some watercolor, and let me tell you, the paper does not hold up too well to watercolor. I was really worried that it was going to bleed straight through. I know I've used the water pens, so it does get very wet, so that could be my own fault, but I have used this technique on my Lexstrom bullet journal and it was fine. So I mean, it looks great now that it's dried, so maybe it was just because it was wet and I was just worried. But yeah, I did worry that it was going to go straight through the paper. But I'm just using a mixture of yellows, purples, pinks and blues just to add like this cloudy tie-dye kind of effect with the colors, and I really love how it turned out. And I'm so glad that the pen didn't bleed, because that is something that can happen. And then as I flipped through, I realized I wanted to add July, so I just kind of made it fit into the bit that I'd already cut out, just to make it look like there was something there because I left the space. So this is the flip through, and this is the effect of all the origami cutouts, and I think it looks so cool and like that pop out effect. And I was initially going to use this like watercolor effect on all the little origami pieces and all the tabs, but I just wanted to keep it quite simple, so I really like that I kept it plain with just very simple colors and just one pop of color. But anyway, this is the flip through. I hope you guys like it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below of what you think I should do next month for my August theme. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay updated every time I post a new video. Follow me over on Instagram. I have got 2 accounts, so make sure you follow both, and I will see you guys very soon with my next video. Bye guys.